for joining another episode of Not a Great Whisperer podcast, where we interview ordinary people living extraordinary lives. I'm your host, Katie Ray, a fierce leader in the community, empowering you to own your story and embrace all that you are. Joining us, can I say a better intro? Joining us today is Lindsey White, and she's doing all that and more. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me, Katie.
Are you excited? Because you're looking fresh today, sister.
I'm always excited, especially to see you.
Let's talk about your live out loud approach. Let's just say I ran into you on the side of the road. How long are we on the side of the road for? But let's say I bump into you and I'm like, who are you? Who's Lindsey? What would you say?
So I think the short answer would be a resilient survivor. But what I really think you're asking me is, why am I on this earth and what is my purpose and how do I want people to remember me?
I am. Thank you for rephrasing my question for me. Just kidding. Yeah, I do. I want to know who you are. And now with your labels, there's a lot we'll get into with that and your story. But who are you? Yeah, why are you here?
So let's take the resilient survivor to the elongated definition. For my age, sub 40, I've been through what I don't know anyone that has gone through as much as I have when it comes to, my surgery count is somewhere in the mid-20s.
Yeah.
And you add on top of that multiple illnesses, diagnoses, managing treatments that are mandatory for the rest of my life. And then you throw in, just to top it off, trauma that has been all the way from physical abuse to emotional abuse and sexual abuse to not thinking you would ever make it home alive from an incident that you sometimes watch TV and go, oh, I hope that's never me. And it was. So when you add all that together, it's a lot. So why I'm here on this earth is not to tell my story anymore. It's to help others with anything that they need help coping with. Mm-hmm. So the plethora of experiences, we bottle that up and say, okay, it is what it is. And now what do we do with it? Mm.
And when was that aha moment for you to put your story on pages?
So it's not that I aspired to be a writer when I was little. Did not write it in kindergarten on that little I want to be a teacher when I grow up paper. I think writing found me, and that was a little bit when I was 11, 12-ish. And then that was subtle. Fast forward a decade and a half, and I did think through it, and I had been contemplating writing, and I never had clear direction until about 4 or 5 months ago. The book I'm writing now it was started 13 months ago, and it started with being a collection of stories, which would still be great. It would still be great. Let me be clear. But I had a moment during the process, and I realized that my purpose and what I'm supposed to do with this is not being a storyteller. Mm-hmm. It is inspiring and empowering. So kind of shifted gears midway through the book process.
What's been some of the challenges you've run? You're a best-selling author, you're a speaker, but what are because you're such a real and authentic human, that it's what are some of the challenges along the way? Some of the hiccups or the people that got in your head maybe?
Yeah. So in my world, kind of just pick an obstacle, pick a bucket, whatever.
What didn't I run into?
I thank you. Yes. So my mind goes, okay, we could go here, all these places.
How much time do we have?
How long is this podcast? You got dinner? What are you doing for dinner?
Let's do it.
Wine night. Okay. The biggest obstacle for me is having all the things I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. And that can be overwhelming. Nobody's 100% positive 100% of the time.
You can't. It's toxic.
Right. And it's fake. Mm-hmm. So no human is like that. So if you take that and go, okay, she's got all these treatments and the past, which we leave it there, and now I'm building 2 businesses and dealing with all that. My biggest struggle is managing the professional on top of the personal and knowing when it's time to say, okay, I can't do this because it either doesn't align with my purpose or I don't have the capacity right now. So yeah, that's my biggest struggle is balancing the two because they are very closely intertwined.
Kind of like honoring yourself, right?
Yes.
Because you know you keep moving, but it's like, hold on, I need to listen to my body.
Correct.
And you've probably done that for so long where you're just kind of like, you continue, more tests, more of this, what's next, where you just keep pushing through, where it's like sometimes you need to be aware and be like, hold on, I need a second. I'm doing so much. And what are the two businesses?
So let me go back to the doing so much and stress. I think it's a known fact, at least I assume, stress does amazing things to the human body, anyone's body. With me, it can be lethal. There are obvious, massive physical manifestations of stress, which could be happening right now and you wouldn't know it. So it's definitely silent and not visual.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's why it's so important because I can't just walk it off. I feel it, and I know it's happening. It'll take you out for
weeks if you don't listen.
Right, and it's pretty drastic. So that is tough because you always want to help, but if I can't give myself grace, how do anyone expect me to give someone else grace?
Like what type? This is like just popped. Like what type of pain are you going through right now?
Okay, I have to. Funny, I have to start at my head and go down because I have to think. I'm just so used to it. It's. I don't like to focus on it.
Of course not.
I do.
But let me dig in and let's focus on it. I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. It's okay. A lot. So anything from muscle to nerve. That's why I wear these glasses. It's a fun new eye disease I have on top of everything else.
Glasses rock. But I feel like this is important because this shows that you are an expert in this. In the how can we continue to live our dream while maintaining such a resilience in us and push through. Like it's very important for you to speak on that so people know like it's okay that you're going through a lot.
It is. It's not okay what happened. And actually, there is a chapter in my book about, it's called six words to swipe left on. So no.
Yeah.
Okay is one of them,
just
the O and the K. So what I like to encourage people is the event, it's not that the event's okay, it's you're going to be all right. And how do we get you there? How do we help? What can we do? And just the first is acknowledgement. So many times with how much I go through, I want to just step in and be like, okay, just here's the list of all the things I did, try it. But that's not how people receive information.
Nope.
So just knowing that I'm there and I'm here anytime, talk to me, whatever you need.
Well, you probably received a ton of lists. So you know that people can't react to a bunch of, like people are probably like, oh, try to do this or try. And you're like, no, we need to find this out myself.
Yeah. Everyone has such a good heart around me. So it's not that they didn't mean well.
Of course.
It's that they hear one portion of my story and they think that's it. There are layers.
You're like,
layers and layers.
Again, how much time do we have?
Time? There's so much medically that even, some of the top doctors, chiefs of neurology at entire university systems, they throw their hands up. So again, not that someone doesn't mean well with the list. It's what they did for that one thing. And I absolutely listen and I hear. And I take some time to absorb and go, maybe there's always something you can take away from words. Even if you don't think the words mean anything, any sentence you can pull something out of. You just have to be present and listen quietly for it.
Can you give our audience what patient zero means?
So I'm going to change that. Okay. Because apparently I was educated that patient zero is...
I like learning moments, sister.
That's a disease that other people can contract.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're going to just, we're going to box that word up.
It doesn't mean anything. Goodbye. If you hear her say it in anything previously, it doesn't mean anything. We're moving forward from it.
So I don't have a word. It is just a complex combination of diagnoses and unknowns where the treatments interact with each other, and there is no case in the world actually documented, let me documented that exist with all my criteria, if you will.
Because you don't know what this book might do. It might bring people out that can relate to you and be like, hey, and you're going to be like, what?
I've already had that happen, and the book is not out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a warm moment. It happened yesterday at lunch. I was speaking, and someone came out to me. He's like, I read your website, and he was like, I relate to you. And what do you think the first natural thing is that I did? The first natural thing is
what?
I looked at him, fit.
Oh, yeah, totally
and
judged
in
him.
shape.
100% judged.
Unfortunately,
that's what we do.
It's the human reaction.
Yeah, that's what we do.
So you can't control your first thought, but you can control after. And I said, really? And I didn't ask because I got a lot of different.
Yeah.
I was like, which one?
Yeah, which one? Which one? Tell me which one.
And he told me, and it's like a weird connection that I don't wish on anybody.
I know, but it's so powerful.
It is powerful, and it just feels different. So
was it just a lunch and learn, and he came up afterwards? Like
it was
you were
before.
Just speaking.
He already knew I was going to be there. It was before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so it probably made you even better for the lunch to speak.
Yeah. So whether it's one person like that or a bigger situation, again, listen to the words. Something is inside there for everyone.
Oh, I mean, there really is. I think one of the things that you speak about is how like you research everything for yourself, because I think all of us need to take that route of just we're always learning. There's always something to learn. How can I advocate for myself? Like what's the best route for us? And I think that's something that's powerful also about your story, because you're not saying, oh, this is it. This is what you have to do to get through anything. You're like, no, I'm here to learn every day.
Yes. Learning, and I turn that into be your own advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Frequently, I listen to people that go to the doctor and say, this is it. And it's not that a doctor isn't educated, but you do know your own body, but you have to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing for most people, because you just want to cover it up and ignore it. Sometimes that can be, deadly quick. And for me, it just wasn't making sense. And I'm a very linear, logical. If there's a hole in something, I'll go back and I'm like, nope, it doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense. So it's not that I was aiming to get that Grey's Anatomy MD. We weren't trying for that. Kind of feel like I have one now. But I did say something's weird. Mm-hmm. And science has never been an affinity of mine. I tell doctors, I'm an expert in me.
Of course.
And the ones that are on board, they're part of the Lindsey team. Mm-hmm. The ones that say, nope, textbook. I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm not a textbook.
Yeah.
So
you fight back.
Yeah.
That's important.
Correct. So being your own advocate, listening, documenting, keeping records.
Yeah. And you're going to give people more confidence to do that for themselves just from your story.
I hope so. That's the point. And what I love about my story, and the book is just step one of all of this, is that when you pick this book up in a few years, I can't wait to hear my readers' reaction to the future self, like the 5-year version of Katie, and then kind of go through it and go, I thought this.
Yeah.
That's the point of it.
Yeah. I would love people to know on your hard days, which we all have them, and you're real as ever. What do you go to? Like, what's your go-to on your really hard days? Like, what do you have to do for yourself?
So it depends on the day, and it depends on the space I'm in, and it depends, most importantly, how much capacity I have to be overwhelmed in that moment. Unfortunately for me, sometimes I don't have the luxury of time. And so, very simple, if you've got 15 minutes until you have to get in the shower, just simple example, and you already I feel myself, I'm like, nope, because the neck is hurting, I have the electric shock in my whatever, my ear is filled, I can't, I'm kind of working you through.
Yeah, some things that are happening.
Right. So in those 15 minutes, I have to make a choice of how much time I have to deal with the overwhelm. So while it depends, and it depends on the space and what's happening, in the moments that it's okay,
too much,
I walk outside, And I do what I call intentional breathing. It's not just breathing to stay alive, but there's a kind of a way I do it. And just take a moment to reflect and look up. So my mother always tells me when we travel, look up. The architecture, painted ceilings, probably also because I used to be on my phone.
Look up. Like, look up.
Also look up.
Do you mean Mom Karen?
Mom Karen.
Mom Karen.
I mean Mom Karen. She's the good Karen, just to clarify.
Yes, she really is.
The good Karen. Look up. So
really cool.
I walk outside, I do some intentional breathing, look up, and give myself grace. Again, moving with grace is a experience that I'm having from the journey I'm on right now.
What does outside do for you? Why do you know you have to be outside? Because if you get stuck in the spot you're in, like, does it just give you that air that you need?
Yes, and the natural elements and listening to the world and listening to outside, it's amazing how noisy silence can be.
Yes.
So,
Ain't that true?
yeah, removing the noise, whether it's in your head, and so you're going to a space that's outside, that's still noisy, but the noisy is just Earth's elements.
Yeah. I do that when the kids are getting crazy inside. I'm like, let's go outside. I literally push them outside. No, I push them out, and it makes them calmer. But I love hearing it from other people too. It's just, it's not used enough. It's a free freaking thing. Like, walk outside. Like,
inflation proof.
Yeah.
Well, for now, inflation proof.
I might be selling air later. I'm not sure. But you know, it's just so true.
Did you know you can do that?
There's a movie about it, a kids movie.
Oh, that was an experience I had in my young 20s. You can. I fell flat on my face in one of my first professional careers. With the vice president of a $2 billion company because I didn't know you could buy air. Tell me you're not shocked.
That'll be another episode. That will be.
But for now, it's free in Florida.
Tell me you're not shocked.
Tell me you're not.
I'm not. So what are some things you want people to feel after reading this book?
Inspired, empowered, encouraged, and I want them to feel with themselves, not alone. There's a difference. Be with yourself, not alone.
Now, you have an amazing, we got to bring up Karen before.
Karen.
Yeah, Mom Karen has to be brought up. Just say little things about what your mom means to you and how this journey has really been, I'm not going to say easier because there's nothing easy about your journey, but just to have her by your side, like what that feels for you.
I love her. And the true unconditional meaning of the word love. Not the same as how I love tacos.
But also we love tacos.
But also love tacos. My mom is an inspiration. She's a wealth of knowledge, and her experiences, while not the same as mine, watching her as a young child, that was prepping me for now. I didn't know that. Going through this process of writing a book is incredibly cathartic. And I recommend it to everyone. It's amazing the self-reflection that naturally happens.
So true.
So having your mother there along with you, I've never seen her as pleased with me. And we're talking getting off stages, winning nationals, being on TV, everything that's ever happened. I want to say 3 to 4 weeks ago, got off a Zoom with a wonderful lady out in Texas, a group that wants me out there. And she hung up, called us back, and was like, I've never seen you like this. And in the raw emotion that came out of her voice was just something I'm always going to remember that moment right there. And her favorite color is blue, and she was wearing her blue button down, and she's like, but I didn't have makeup on. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It was I'm watching her face on that Zoom, and she's like, I know what you're doing now. So it was kind of coming full circle for her.
Well, yeah, it's awesome to just watch your children like step into their own. But I'm so glad I've met and been around both of you because your relationship is just so genuine and loving, and I love a mom-daughter duo like that. But okay, I love, we had to bring up Mom Karen. I mean, that was like a necessity.
Yes.
What are some of the, where can we find you and when is the book out?
So on the internet, the Google machine, I like to call it.
Just Google me.
Google me. LindseyMWhite.com. And Lindsey is Lindsey. M like Mary. White. Like the color. White. .com. And so the book is launching, we are pretty sure February. So it's November, I think.
Yep, it's November.
Couple months. We are wrapping up the last finishes, and I couldn't be more pleased. The team's amazing. And
what, if a favorite quote or just something you live by to kind of leave with that?
That's a tough one. Give me a couple seconds. I have a lot of.
I'll allow it. There's a lot. I think just your motto is fantastic. But yeah, think of something that.
Slow down, look up.
Yeah.
I said that fast. That was really fun. Okay, let's try
that
again.
Slow down.
Slow down and look up.
Perfect. I can't wait to have another episode after it launches, and you've been doing more speaking events. I love your story. I am so happy we met, and you can find Lindsey
Katie.
all over Not a Great Whisperer podcast, KatieRay.com. She is a force to be reckoned with and inspiring AF. See, I usually curse, but we're censoring it today. Lindsey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Katie.